then I don't understand. If you're so much pro-Semitic, what's the deal with the Palestinian flag and Palestinian scarf? I don't get it.
Hey, so what? I mean, I'm Puerto Rican, and Palestine is an occupied nation, just like Puerto Rico is.
So, in other words, on the one hand, you agree the Jews have been living there for 3,500 years.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Semitic Jews.
Okay, whatever.
Okay, not the European Jews.
Okay, let's
or the Chinese Jews.
Okay, let's take your theory. Okay.
No,
let's
that's not a theory. That's a fact of life.
Fine. So they used to live there, and they're still alive, right? There were Jews that immigrated to Israel from Morocco, from Iraq, from Iran, from Algeria, from Tunisia.
The Arab Jews are Semitic.
From
These are
Egypt,
the real Semitic.
you name it. So over 1 million Jews in the past just couple of decades. I mean, a couple of decades and 3,500 years. It's a very small, time frame. So let's take just these Jews. They moved to Israel. They're Israeli citizens right now. So are we saying that they're occupying Israel, the land where their ancestors used to live for 3,500 years?
They came from Europe.
No, I'm talking about Iraqi Jews, Iranian Jews, Moroccan Jews, Egyptian Jews. They live in Israel, Israeli citizens,
fine
right?
With me. In fact, it's fine with me if the European Jews live there too. But you know one thing?
Yes.
The Palestinian people should also have the right to return to their land, which is Palestine.
Okay.
The Palestinian Jews should have the right to have equal rights, just like everybody else. And you know one thing? It's okay. I support a one-state solution of Jews, Palestinians, Semitic or not Semitic, to live together in peace as brothers and sisters that they are. Because right now, a lot of the Palestinians probably descend from Jews from before, and many of the Jews descend from Palestinians. So, and they're both Semitic.
Look, there have been a lot of injustices in this world, especially in the past 100 years. So when injustices were committed to the Jews, and probably the Jews suffered most than anybody else, considering that there was a concerted effort by just one madman to exterminate every single Jew
That's
on
right.
earth.
That's right. I agree with that.
So, when there was a lot of injustices committed to Jews living in Syria, to Jews living in Morocco, to Jews living in Iraq, to Jews living in Iran, to Jews living in Egypt, and so on and so on and so on. So more than 1 million people, like I said, emigrated to Israel, and the state of Israel was created legally by the United Nations. Okay?
But
legally,
who was the United Nations controlled by?
Legally,
England, the United States, the colonial powers.
Each country has one vote.
Adiós, carajo. Dios te me cuide, papá.
La cría hoy también para que.
Dios te me cuide, linda.
Okay.
Bien. So anyway,
So now, again, let's take your premise that Israel belongs only to the Sephardic Jews or the Jews from the Middle East. What are you gonna do with them?
The Jews are there already. The European Jews are there already. But at least they should have the Palestinian and the Sephardic Jews and the Arab Jews have equal rights, like they want to have for themselves.
What's the percentage of Arabs who live in Israel?
Let's talk about the percentage that were expelled out.
Okay. By the way, speaking of which, now I remember why I was bringing all this up. So when they were expelled from all these Muslim countries, Israel accepted them. They assimilated over there. They became part of the country known as Israel. Now, when there was a war, and by the way, after the Declaration of Independence, the minute Ben-Gurion declared the independence of Israel, the combined Arab countries attacked the newly declared state of Israel. Let me finish just 1 second.
Yeah.
1 second.
Okay.
So, fortunately they won. Had they not won, obviously Israel would have never existed after that. But the Jews that came to Israel, they live in Israel, they become part of Israel, they all assimilated in huge numbers, more than 1 million people just from the Middle East. While the Palestinians who left Israel,
who were forced to leave.
Who left, okay, let's say forced to leave. Let's say
they were forced through massacres, and they used to open up their bellies, take the babies out.
Look, let's assume that you're right. I disagree, but let's assume that you're right. But the same thing was happening to the Jews in Syria, in Morocco, Egypt, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, the same thing was happening to Jews.
Okay,
injustice. Let's assume injustice from the hands of Israelis. Injustice from the hands of the Middle Eastern countries. The Jews accepted the status quo, they assimilated. When the Palestinians moved to outside Israel, they became the so-called refugees. 3 generations of refugees. Do you know of any refugees, Jewish refugees from Egypt? No. Jewish refugees from Iran? No. Jewish refugees from Iraq? No. Because the state of Israel took them in. Why can't more than 1.5 billion fellow Muslims help their fellow Palestinians? That's what I don't understand. Why do they have to live in the refugee camps? Still, 3 generations later.
Why there should be Palestinian refugees? Why?
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 Okay, then I should ask you, why can't the Jews go back to Syria? Why can't the Jews go back to Iran? Why can't the Jews go back to...
Well, there's a lot of stuff I may not understand.
Isn't it the same concept?
But I think it's a big injustice to drive the Palestinians out of their land, okay, and to torture them and to massacre them and to put them in jail and all that. That's very bad.
Was it justice to expel Jews from Morocco? I don't want to sound like a broken...
That's not just.
So why don't you go with the Israeli flags? To be fair, let's say 2 flags, Palestinians and Israeli flags, and demand that Morocco takes back the Moroccan Jews. Egypt takes back to...
Israel is not a victim now. Israel is a victimizer now. You see? The Palestinians are suffering very, 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 very much.
They don't have to.
They don't have to.
They don't have to. There are so many countries that could have taken care of them.
But that's their land. Israel is their land. Palestine.
When Jews used to live, I go back to the same story. For generations, they lived in Iran, for instance. The Jews were expelled by the Baknazar, whatever how it's pronounced, the 6th century before Christ. Way back, they were expelled from their own land to Iran. Imagine how long they have been living in Iran.
Yeah, but I also have information that many of the people, Palestinians, for example, descend from Jews, okay, from the Semitic Jews, and many of the Jews are not Semitic, which means they can't claim Israel because they're not Semitic. They're just, say for example, the people of China become Jews. Do they have the right to claim Israel? Or Palestine, I should say. Okay, my friend, I want to put an end.
Okay,
anyway, thank
nice talking to you.
But one thing, we're probably related by DNA.
Could be.
You and me.
Could be. Way back, 500 years back.
Read deep ancestry and look up read about DNA and deep ancestry, and we're probably related because, as I said, many of the people that came with Columbus, were Spanish Jews,
right,
and Semite.
They were called Marranos, I believe.
Yeah,
those who
right.
were forced to convert to Judaism.
Exactly.
Spain now offers Spanish citizenship to those Jews.
Right. Oh yeah,
so many years later.
There was a law that Spain already offered to return the citizenship, which I believe is good.
Not so many takers, but well, thank you anyway.
That's good. That's justice. I mean, you know what I mean? And
yes. Why can't the Iranians say the same thing? Please welcome back. Instead, they say death to America, death to Israel. Why not do justice now and follow in the Spain's footsteps?
I don't have many arguments about that. But as I said, there should be equal rights for everybody in Palestine. I don't care if they're European Jews, but there should be rights for everybody else.
20% of Israeli Arabs, and there are as many as 20%.
Before they were the majority.
20% of Israeli Arabs share the same exact rights as the Israeli citizenship, except maybe serving in the army. They're MKs, members of Knesset. They can vote. They have their own parties.
I read and I hear.
But I travel and I have relatives and I talk to them.
Okay, let's put it this way. way. Sephardic Jews and Puerto Ricans are very much related.
Good.
Okay, my brother.
So we're relatives.
Okay, my brother.
Okay, brother.
We are related. Okay?
Fellow Semite.
Yes, my brother. Yes.
See ya.
God bless.
Okay, God bless you. See ya. Bye-bye.